What's up? What's up, Bills fans? How are you, bro? I am excited. I don't know. I think Rick is here. I think you're here, Rick. Oh, this is delicious. It was a little crazy. I knew it was for the one. I didn't know what the other details. They had multiple fives. They had multiple sixes. The fourth next year can be recouped with comp picks from Shaq or from Jordan Phillips, but the Bills, they don't stand pat. They go out, then Trader Bean goes out and does what he does and just makes a huge, acquisition for a wide receiver that is proven one of the better receivers in the game. He's a Pro Bowler, a guy who's got tons of production, especially with a guy who's a little bit more conservative with the football than Josh Allen. His deep targets are ridiculous. If you look at his percentage of deep targets, he was like catching 55% of his deep targets, which is well and above anybody in the league. His yards on those deep targets were first in the league. So he had some pretty crazy advanced stats that I saw. Somebody had posted on Twitter from the next gen stats. I'm sure you guys can find it when you go up. Um, Sean McDermott was asked at the combine what type of receiver you're looking for at the combine, size, speed. You see all these guys, what do you like? And he just, the first thing out of his mouth was one, could he catch the football? And then you couple that with Stefon Diggs' 68.4 career catch percentage, is only second active to Michael Thomas, and he's got Drew Brees pinpoint accurate throwing him the ball. Hey, what's up, all you guys? What a wow, that was a whoa. You see all the Bills fans pining and lamenting and moaning before you see some names. See Miami trying to reload their defense, stock up their defense, and they're the worst defense in the league, justifiably so. They signed Shaq Lawson. Bills lost out a player to the division rival Van Noy. They a big deal for Byron Jones. I didn't even think they were going to be on him, but then you see the Bills at the 11th hour pretty much come in Stefon Diggs and pretty much give or take, what is it, a few days, a week. Last year we had the faux trade for Antonio Brown, that really never came to fruition. And now this year the trade is legit. Jay Glazer is the first guy that has it, and if Jay Glazer puts his name on it, it's gold. He's young. He still has good years left. The contract is good, and this team, isn't going to sit around and wait. They didn't. I don't think maybe they felt like there was going to be a guy there at 22 with the receiver class that was going to make that immediate impact. And this team needs to score points. It needs touchdowns. It needs to be able to finish in the red zone. A guy who can get chunk plays. 17.9 yards a catch last year, which is ridiculous. And the deal is excellent, and he's proven. And he catches the ball. He catches the ball, and it's another thing is he's a precise route runner. He's an underrated route runner. I was obviously when the Bills hit somebody up and they sign him or they trade for him, as in this case with a caliber of player like this, they go and look. The guy creates some sick separation. And another thing that it does is it tiers the receivers now. You can stack them perfectly. You have Brown, you have Diggs, you have Brown, you have Beasley. So you have a really nice, trio of guys. And then that's minus what you do in the draft. Granted, the Bills don't have a first round pick, but they're going to get a receiver in this draft. The receiver class is just that deep. I say I would not be shocked if they take two receivers. They still have 6 draft picks in this. They 7 draft picks. They required a 7th. They have their 2nd, their 3rd, their 4th, 2 5ths, a 6th, and a 7th. So they pretty much have the normal sans a first. And like me and Eric spoke about, 9 guys were not making this roster, and now you have your number 1 receiver. So that burden is allayed. You don't really have to worry about that now, and they can just go attack. They can just go out and attack free agency how they want. They can go out and attack the draft how they want. and not have to worry about chasing a guy. Like, we like this guy, and if they like a guy, they can make a move. They still have the ammo to do it, both in funds and, they still have reasonable draft capital when they get in the middle rounds. You want to trade back a little bit, you want to trade up a little bit. That's kind of what Bean does. He does not stand pat, that's for sure. The guy does not like waiting around for players that he wants to he wants to get on this team to help the golden boy, his franchise, Josh Allen. They can, Nick, they can still get Duggar in round 2. I don't think it's off the table whatsoever. I don't think that's off the table whatsoever. And again, this is day 1 of the offseason. This is like day 1. All this crap is going on. It's a very much welcome distraction, and I appreciate that a lot. But it was an interesting ad when wow, I couldn't believe it. But when you see Jay Glazer's name next to it, it's like, oh, okay, this is legit. This is legit. Thanks for guys to jump on. It's almost midnight here on the East Coast. It's again a crazy time, but it's fun a little bit, especially for us fans. You saw the Bills fans moaning a bit. Sorry, my voice. I was talking to a friend, like I couldn't stop talking, fucking going ham with him, because he's been screaming for a proven receiver for like ever. He's like, I don't want them to wait on a guy. I don't want them to have to find you draft a receiver and you have to wait for him to develop. And what if he sucks and this and that? Like, he was just like, get me a proven receiver. Get me a proven receiver. And he went out and got it. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Snarl. Yeah, Diggs, I saw that. Eric Moreno, Diggs responded to Allen's tweet. Alex, like, you dig, and then Diggs went back at him. Let's get it. So yeah, I mean, I tweeted at Diggs. I was like, yo, you in the family now. You're here for life. You're in. Once you're in this, you ain't getting out. It's like the mafia. So I mean, I'm excited. Fuck, man, it's March 16th. We don't got a game till God knows when. 6 months from now. Shit. The CBA passed. Free agency started. The Bills, I haven't even talked about the other signings that they got. Mario Addison, AJ Klein. People say, oh, the Carolina ties and this and that, but they're productive. They were with winning teams. Well, not so much Addison in the last few years, but his production has been very, very good. Had much better sack numbers than a lot of the other guys on the market. You look at his AGS, but he's just one of those old dogs. Could probably add some leadership to the room, left by some guys, or, Zoe. AJ Klein's another guy, much younger, but still very, very productive. Was with the Saints, 25, 30 snaps on defense, all 4 special teams units, solid ad. Again, not sexy, but it could have some teeth, because you want to have guys that are just going to come in and transition seamlessly. Because look at the way this offseason is going to be. You're not going to have time to, if you're a new coach and you're trying to get your program together during this offseason, with the way shit is, the new CBA, adjusting to those new rules with contact, and then, with this thing going on where offseason programs aren't going to start on time, guys can't work out, guys can't go to the pro days, it's crazy. So I feel for a new coach trying to start a team, man. It would be just like the Bills, but that's not the case, thank goodness. Oh God, Eric, and we're relieved we're not the Texans. Amen to that. That's all I thought about, dude. I was just sitting there, like, looking at that trade, Hopkins. I was like, I'm so happy. Like, I am so happy that Bill O'Brien has nothing to do with our football team. Nothing. I was like, you traded that guy for him? You got a 2nd round pick, but what? Horrific. Isn't he a bit of a drama guy? He was a little theatrical on the sidelines, a little bit more so from Cousins. He didn't look like he wanted to go down the field with the football, but you saw their offense open up in the second half of the year. Then he calmed down because they were predominantly, if you remember, just running it with Cook and Matheson. They were just pounding the rock, and they just became a heavy run first team. And they just reinvested in Cousins today. So there's no coincidence that they reinvest in Cousins and then Diggs is shipped out that same day. I mean, because I don't think those two are going to be able to coexist. And Josh is going to give him chances down the field. He's going to be throwing him the ball, and those two are going to have to get on sync. Look at Miami signing all the. Ut says, look at Miami signing all these guys. They can't even be. Yeah, they can't even be a team. So how are you going to gel? It's going to be hard, man. You see all these names on a sheet. I was writing down the signings. You got Shaq Lawson, Van Noy, Jones, Flowers, and you got the I can't say the safety's last name that they signed because it's kind of difficult to pronounce. But yeah, Nick Diggs needs to delete his social media the second he gets the Buffalo. Glad to see Hopkins out of the AFC. Yeah, and it's funny. Like people were going at the Bills a little bit. I saw they were a little upset. Oh, why didn't they get Hopkins at the Bills? You rarely ever. I mean, I can't remember unless it's a real bad organization, like when the Raiders traded Moss to the Patriots, for Christ's sake. Odell Beckham Jr. traded out of the conference. Giants to the Browns. You get Hopkins today, traded outside of the conference. Diggs traded outside his conference, NFC, AFC. So you rarely ever see, when you see a big piece for whatever reason, it's almost kind of like scripture. You don't trade him within your conference, especially maybe even your division. You get him on the other side of the fence, so to speak. What do I think? He's, from what I was looking at his numbers, he's missed a game here, a game there, but it's nothing crazy. I think this last game that he missed was a maintenance game. There was one game he missed, didn't start, so he doesn't have a lot of misses on his resume. There's just a handful here and there. But the catch percentage is ridiculous. I mean, a 68.4 clip on his catch percentage is crazy. That's I mean, so when he creates some ridiculous separation, and that's a very high catch percentage for a receiver. I mean, the Bills, their highest guy this year was Cole Beasley, and he was in the low 60s. Let me check for you really quick. Yeah, Beasley was at 63 and 67 catches, but he didn't have the downfield hits that this guy is going to be able to get. And you throw three of them on the field, it's really going to be a pick your poison situation. But don't not so fast, Damager. You still got the rest of free agency. You have the draft. And you saw the Bills didn't want to wait until they weren't going to go sign a guy. They went out and traded for a receiver. So they're going to go, you saw the draft. You're gonna get a receiver in the draft. So, I mean, it's going to be they're gonna get a guy. They're gonna get two guys. They still have 7 picks to use. Probably end up using like 6 the rest of this time, trade market. So a lot of things are going to happen. You see, so like, for example, we've talked about already, the Brown, David Johnson for Hopkins, a 2nd round pick, and a couple other things. If I would have told you that, you guys would have, if I knew that, like if I was a psychic and I said, oh, that trade will happen, you'd say I was crazy. That's like a kid on Madden. That's a Madden trade. That's not real life. How the fuck? That's crazy. Yeah, Trevor. John Brown's number 2 now. Highly productive guy. That'll help him out, free him up. They can't bracket him. It'll help free up Beasley in the middle of the field. Then you'll have maybe Knox developing more, getting more, seasoning, being able to loosen up the defense even more because he's like a big wide receiver. They brought back Kroom, they brought back Robert Foster. Maybe one of those guys can pop off. And then again, there's a long way to go. It's it's now March 17th. So we're in good, we're a good ways away. So this roster is going to be exponentially, it's going to be different. And, Yeah, it sucks. It's it's a sucky situation, Eric. There's no other way to slice it. I have my own opinion on it. I'm just gonna keep it to myself. I don't get political here. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about any kind of stuff like that. So for that, I just kind of put it in my pocket. But it's a sucks. But we all just have to deal with it, ride it out together, and move on. You know. So let me see some new comments here. Trevor heard the Bills sniffing around Jordan Howard. I saw that earlier. That was from a Bills Philly writer, Neil. Um, yeah, it's a crazy trade, Neil. It's a good it's a good it's something that the Bills like. I'm glad this regime weren't pussies. You know, oh, we got burned. It's like prior regime. Oh, we got burned on Sammy Watkins trade. You know, we traded a first round. You know, that was up in the top 10. You know, and with no quarterback, no established foundation, your cap situation is kind of shitty. Your regime is wishy washy. You have Marone in, you have him out. You have Rex in, you have him out. So Whaley, cowboying it up with Brandon. And with this, you got a low 20 pick. You don't plan on sucking. You're not trading anything down the line except a fourth next year, which you're probably going to recoup for a comp pick with Shaq and Jordan Phillips. So to me, they went out and got a proven commodity that they want immediate impact. They want to go out week one and roll. They don't want any hitches in the giddy up. Matt trying to keep this about the Bills, but I just have situation is doing a number on my anxiety disorder. I really hope it ends. Yeah, man. There's a guy like you have, something that is mental and it could fray your nerves. And that's unfortunate. That's kind of like what is it? Collateral damage. It's like, people don't see that shit because people are so focused on this. It affects all these other things, like my aunt has anxiety and stuff, and I can't even talk about it because it'll give me, man. No, it's all good, Matt. It's all good. Hopefully this trade and made you happy and it took your mind off of it. It did for me. I'm not gonna lie. Even though a lot of the early day wasn't about the Bills, this is about the Bills. It was making me excited and happy, and I got to go to the gym for the last time in 2 weeks. But I'm still gonna work out, run outside, work out. I have a home gym set up over here. That's not a problem, but still, it was exciting to see moves being made, some sports stuff going on. Yeah, that's crazy. It says, I love to see that Brady's not getting the market that he expected. Neil, oh, I'll talk about it with you privately, Neil. I'll talk about it with you privately. Snarl is the flu guy, the nasty flu. Don't let you fear mongering me. No, I'm. Let's see. I just. Again, we really got to try and add Griffin or Quinn. I think we added Addison, Joe, so I think that kind of cancels those guys out. I'll just say it really quick. I think that there's a lot of a lot of people out there are very highly susceptible to suggestion. I believe it's a very large social experiment on a massive level. That's what I believe, and that's as far as I'll go. How much can we take if we rattle the cage? That's it. That's as far as I'll go. That's why I don't mind the NFL starting the league year. Yeah, and you saw that, Eric. Eric says that's why I don't mind the league year starting out the year on time is a good distraction. Yeah, I mean, you've seen a lot of people with their media, with their narratives and stuff like that saying, oh, the league year is going to start. It's not going to start. And you saw somebody probably leaked bad information to Florio and another guy that were constantly saying, oh, the league's year is going to be pushed back. It's going to be pushed back. And then that morning, it was like, oh, the league year is going to start. Yeah, it's not the flu that worries me. It's the people's reaction to the flu when they go to the store and see shelves a little empty and things like that. That's the stuff that worries me because I've already seen a few people getting rowdy in grocery stores and stuff like that, and that doesn't help anybody. You know, I feel for those people that work in those stores. They really need to be commended too. People look at them, they just work in a grocery store. That's, you know, those kids, you know, and they're a bunch of teenage kids or old people usually working those jobs. And I really feel for them. So when this shit is done, I'm going to give them a proper fucking shout out because they deserve it. You know, when will it end? It's weird because even at my gym, I was given 2 weeks. Like we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm like, so what was it, like a 2 week window that I get? But anyway, let's go back to football. Joe Smith, you see, shit, they could. It's anybody's game now, man. And it's truly the best guy that was on their board. I mean, maybe it's Duggar, maybe it's Claypool. Um, Maybe it's an offensive lineman that they like. Yeah, it's an open door. I have no interest in him. He just cannot stay healthy, man. Devontae Freeman was released in the interest. Yeah, he just cannot stay healthy. I mean, for a running back too, that's a position you have to stay healthy. You know. Yeah, Trevor, it's a lot of stuff, man. I just don't want to waste all my energy and time into that. It's just a little too much. Blacklock, it reminds me of Luis Castillo. Um, they like him. What's up, Elliot? How you doing? How are you? Um, it's so they can go anywhere. They can go corner, they can go defensive tackle, they can go offensive line, they can go wide receiver, they can go hybrid safety, they can go anywhere. Maybe Jonathan Taylor, who knows, man? That's where they're at with their roster, that they can just pretty much go get the best guy that they like and then plug and play from there. They're not stressed now because that was always the need, right? It was like, okay, when are we going to get that number one receiver? They have a guy, they have a guy. They have, a stud receiver that's a proven receiver, and he's, going to come in, and it's going to be him and Allen for the next 4 years. So, and he's young. People kind of tend to forget that. It's like you have a Cole Beasley who's going to be 31. You have a John Brown who's going to turn 30. So this is the guy that's going to grow with Allen over the next 3 years, which is a vital part of his career, his development. So, getting a guy with I mean, I didn't realize, because I'm not an advanced stats guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and purport myself as some analytics guru and all this stuff. I'll look into it sometimes if I'm interested in seeing something. I love stats, but I'm not so obsessed with them. But for his catch percentage, that was a pretty high catch percentage. And Beasley has a reasonably high one too for his career. Actually, it's 69.4 for his career. So he's definitely up there. And Diggs has a high one too. The lowest amongst the group is Brown, because predominantly the main part of his early career was just going on fly patterns. He was catching, just going deep shots. Joe Smith, number one priority in my opinion. I'd make this pass rush dominant. I know they really like Johnson, but I love the edge. Yeah, that's the next big piece, right? But you can't do everything in one off season. You kind of have to, it's not a good class for pass rushers. It really isn't. They added Addison. They have high hopes, because if you draft a guy, is he going to be any better than Johnson could be this year? Then you still have Trent Murphy under contract for another year. You have Hughes locked down for another season or two. I think it's 2 seasons, and he's coming off surgery. So maybe he's going to be better because he'll be healthier, hopefully. They could do that. That's on the table. Trevor says they could cut Murphy and sign another edge rusher. That's on the table. I mean, again, after what we've seen today, anything is possible. So I'm definitely, let's try to stop speaking in absolutes when it comes to things, because I'm a little Damager. Who do you see us drafting with our first pick now? Could be Duggar. He's definitely in play. And I'll put my ass on the line saying I know that they love that kid. And they really like him a lot. They didn't go to Hickory, North Carolina 6 fucking times to talk to thin air. They did not meet with him. They met with him at the Senior Bowl. They met with him on an informal and a formal at the combine, and the interest is there. Not that they needed to do that, but they still did that. There's no need, because I think, he just Murphy restructuring his contract. You could just let him play out the string, rotate with Addison and Hughes and Johnson or whoever else you add, and then you can just walk. You can walk from the contract after this year, no dead money, pretty unscathed. Don't forget about Mike Love. Yeah, he's got to stay healthy though. I think he had a torn quad or no, a torn what is this? Tricep. I'm trying to read some. Joe is, I think Gross Matos gives us he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys I just don't really care for, Joe. Something about him, he just doesn't do it for me. I like his story. He's got a great story. Elliot talked about the restructure. I'm sorry. Joe Smith Duggar gives them a joker on defense. Yeah, that's something that they like. Something you damn well better believe McDermott likes is versatility on defense. And then you got Poyer's situation coming next year. He could slide in and be that strong safety, that Batman on defense, that enforcer in the middle of the field, because truly that's what the Bills defense is about. The Bills defense success is controlling the middle of the field, squeezing the middle of the field, pushing everything to the boundary outside the hashes, and then the outside corners using the sideline, the boundary as a second, third defender. That's the key to their defense when it comes to the pass and just in general. And so he would be a great piece. I'm literally wearing Diggs' jersey right now. Haven't heard much on Phillips. Eric says, yeah, I saw the tweet. Did you see the tweet? The eyes and stuff. It was kind of like, what the hell? I thought Case Keenum to the Browns. Yeah, they needed a backup. I don't know if you know the story, Damager, about it's crazy. Gail Gilbert's son was former Bills third string quarterback behind Reich and Kelly. His son, and his first name is Garrett Gilbert. He was actually from the same high school Baker Mayfield was, and he was he was a senior when Baker Mayfield was just coming in as a freshman. And so Baker wanted him on the team. Like, he told him, I want him on the team. I don't care. So that's when they cut Drew Stanton, and I think they made another release. So that's basically why he was the backup quarterback, is because Baker wanted him. But they need a backup, and they need to improve their offensive line as well. Yeah, the Hooper move, I don't get. I don't get it, Elliot. Like, I don't know why you're paying. They went out and got a bunch of sexy weapons last year. Granted, they added Conklin. They're probably going to draft an offensive lineman, but they need linebackers, they need defensive tackles, and they need safeties. AJ Klein could play middle too. He's insurance if Edmonds get hurt. Well, he's versatile, special teams, and he's just one of their guys. He's just one of their dudes. He's going to come in, play a role, work hard, set examples for younger players. Elliott, Vikings got our first, our fifth, our sixth, and our next year's fourth. So they had 3 5s, 2 6s, and next year's fourth, like I said, could be recouped easily with comp picks from Phillips, Lawson. They didn't really give anything up major next year, top 100 wise, which I was really happy. And they still have 7 picks, and they filled a pretty big hole. What's your opinion on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, third or fourth? I mean, he's a nice back. He made a lot of plays. I mean, if they got him I'd say in the 5th or 4th, I'd be all right with it. I mean, he made a lot of plays. Like, when he was, for a little fucker, he ran hard. He reminded me a little bit more fit because of his height. Maurice Jones-Drew. He reminded me of a more fit version of him. So yeah, that was a nice ad for this team today. I mean, granted, if you would have asked me to do it with this receiver class, I mean, I'm probably on record in one of my videos saying I won't, because in this receiver class is so good. But if you look at the depth of it, they're gonna draft a wide receiver probably 2. They're going to get a good receiver in the 3rd round, in the 5th round. They're going to get a stud wide receiver. At what round would Jonathan Taylor go? He's either going to go in the top of the 2nd or no lower. I think he's just going to go in the 2nd round, somewhere in the 2nd round. That's what I would guess. That's my best guess on him. This is the kind of trade I would have made in Madden. Well, it's a real life trade, dude. I would have said that, you know, the Johnson for Hopkins trade is a trade you'd make in Madden. So it's crazy to think that they did it. They did it, and they were aggressive, and they ID'd him as a guy that they want a wide receiver that's going to be with Allen for a number of years, and this was the guy that they identified, and they went out and got him. And this is again, that's why I think they're going to draft 2 receivers, because this class is so rich with receivers. They're going to want to get some younger guys in around this older group, you know, more seasoned, more veteran, so they can watch how they work and watch how they play. An undrafted free agent like Cole Beasley, a small school guy that had to grind like John Brown, you know, Diggs, 5th round pick who battled and made a star out of himself. You know, they're going to want that type of guy. Yeah, Cooper got over $100 million. That's a huge, huge contract. So, I mean, again, this deal for Diggs looks great, and if they restructure it and add a few years, you know, maybe a few bucks in a year, I'm okay with it. That's why you have the money. That's why you go out and get the quarterback. That's why you add weapons so you can go out and win games. That's what it's about. You know, Matt, can I just say thank you for doing the live tonight? It's a really rough day, and it helps me. Bro, that's what it's about. We're all in here. Just we're all Bills fans. We're all friends. We're all family, and you know, and it helps me. I thank you guys all the time. It helps me. Shit. You know, I mean, I don't have a lot of company a lot. I'm pretty much alone all the time. I had my girl over here tonight just for a little bit, but I you know, I had to get her back home because there's the 8 o'clock curfew. And then, you know, I was just kind of sitting up watching the free agency stuff happen. I was like, I don't want to go to bed. Everything I had to do yet tomorrow got canceled. It got shot to shit. So it's like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm just like going to sit up and watch, you know, this. And then the Bill stuff started happening. I was like, I'm coming on here. I'm like, I'm fucking coming on here. I don't care how late it gets. I don't care if nobody comes in this room. I'm coming on. But thank you guys so much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to just read some other comments. Anytime, Matt, though. It's my pleasure. Bro, can you imagine adding Jalen Rigger to the offense? Oof. I mean, again, they're going to get a dude. Even if they go receiver in 2. You know, for me, I'm sorry, my guy is Chase Claypool. I'm not going to come off of him. Do you think that same deal could have gotten you Hopkins? I like I said, Damager, I think I just see the receivers it's different when you trade within the conference. I think you see these bigger players when they get traded outside of conference. You saw Clowney get shipped out of the conference. You saw, I mean, it's all the time. It's always guys jumping conferences. It's very rare to you see teams trade within conference. It's like Leonard Williams, you know, granted, he's not the caliber of player, but he got shipped, you know, out of his conference to the Jets. I hope Diggs doesn't hold that. Nah, I don't see that happening. I think they've probably already had conversations. I think those things are pretty fluid. These things tend to not happen in a vacuum. You saw it. If you go back in this timeline and you see Diggs's timeline earlier today, he knew something was coming down. Like he was pretty much like something's going to happen. Just don't know what yet. But it's coming. Night Owls definitely snarl. Appreciate it, Mark. Go Bills. Anytime, Nick. Always. I watched American Idol, and then the Diggs news broke, and that was a little later. So enough time to distract. Yeah, Matt. 100%. Joe Smith Claypool reminds me of Calvin Johnson or DK Metcalf. He could really. Oh God, like that guy. If they take him in the 2nd round, bro, I'm not going to be upset about it. I just can't be. Thanks, Matt. You know, I don't. Again, Elliot, I don't solicit for likes or subs, but if you did, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. You know, people just coming in here and spending their time with me. Your time. That's all. Your Bills fans, thank you. Snarl, I'm kind of pissed my girlfriend Katy Perry got knocked up. Well, I'm sorry about that, man. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but I know you guys must be, as excited as I am. So the Bills, their following picks are 2. They have a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 2 6th, and a 7th. So pretty much, so they actually had 3 6s and 2 5s. So I was flipping it. I'm sorry, my bad. It was me. I was doing the wrong round. Any interest in Breida? I'm sorry, Eric. He's a solid player. Fast as shit. He kind of got benched because a fumbling problem, and that's when the other guy took over, Mostert, and Coleman just kind of maintained his role because Breida started having a fumbling problem. But he's fast as hell. I remember that was it that one touchdown he had against the Browns. It was like a 70-yard bullet. He just, I think the next gen had him go up to almost 23 miles an hour on that run. That was crazy. What did Diggs say, Matt? At Matt, I didn't see it. I saw Matt Barkley sent something to him. I didn't see the tweet. Let's extra playoff spot, and the Texans seem to be taking a hit. Hopefully, we see the Bills make the playoffs each and every year now. Yeah, man, that's the idea. And the division. That, to me, the division is in play. I don't care about Brady. He could stay with the Pats. Their defense was a catalyst for their team last year, and their defense took a big hit today. They lost Van Noy. They lost Jamie Collins. They re-signed Devin McCourty. He's a little bit older. They franchised Tooney. So for me, they don't have a second-round pick. They have pretty much a low first, so they're up against it. I just see them having an issue. Joe Smith, who do you think replaces Jordan Phillips, a draft pick, or maybe Vernon Butler? Honestly, worried about it. Could be Reader. It definitely could be Reader. Yeah, maybe so. Hopefully, with any luck, hopefully with any luck, they can add a guy that's going to do something good for them. Yeah, I got rid of him. Don't worry. Yeah, I got rid of him. I didn't. It took me a second to see it. I'm sorry. It took me a minute, but I saw it. I was like, ah, shit, dude, come on, man. Does Josh Allen have to jump over your fucking linebacker again? I mean, you got Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. I have a good friend who's a Viking fan. God bless him, Ronnie. He's a fucking true believer. But he told me, he's like, bro, my quarterback's trash. And he's like, I wish I had Josh Allen. He said that to me, Puerto Rican kid. He's great. And he told me that 2 years ago when Josh Allen did it to Anthony Barr. Nah, I don't want Griffin. I'm not a fan of Griffin. Yes, Snarl, he got paid. No, is he from down there? No, he's not from down there. He's from South Carolina. Sorry. Did you see what Eric Flowers got from Miami? Oof. Did you see what Eric Flowers got? I was just kind of like, ooh, you're paying that guy to protect whoever your quarterback is? I was just never a fan. See, to me, I get why they're fortifying their defense, because they don't want to stay in games more. Their defense just gave up tons of plays, tons of yards. They spent big money because they had to. They had the money to spend. They needed to add, talent, because there was no talent on that football team. They had, no offensive line, obviously. The running back situation was a mess. Fitz did wonders with that receiving core. I'll give them that 100%. I'll give them that. But their defense really got some work today. So I'll give Flores the benefit of the doubt, because he did a whole shit a lot with less. He did a way better coaching job than most coaches in this league, and way better than Adam Gase. So, if he gets those guys, maybe they were a pain in the ass for the Bills last year and a lot of teams. So, hopefully the Bills just keep working, keep building, and they still have to come to us. We don't have to come to them. They have to come up to the Bills level. So, O-line is scary, but pushing their value. Fant got ridiculous contract. Well, his problem has always been injuries, Joe. His problem's always been injuries. He's talented as hell. athlete, a ridiculous athlete, sick athlete. Just his problem has been health. Yeah, the Bills could go offensive line in the second round. I wouldn't be mad at right now. You don't have a first round pick. The second round, 54th overall right now. I'm not gonna get mad at anything that they do. Like I'm not gonna like, oh, what the fuck? You just can't. Not when you're picking in that position. They can just say, we're just gonna take our best player and roll with it. Elliott, can't wait to see what we do in edge rushers. Well, they've got 5 guys on the team right now. They have a whole bunch of chances to add guys. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting what happens with Clowney. I don't think the Bills are anywhere near that. I just think he's a lot of sizzle and not a lot of steak. To be me, I just think there's a lot of name clout there. I mean, he can have these games where like, holy shit, he can wow you. And then he has games where he just kind of like, well, where is he type of games. Sorry, I have to adjust. My leg is falling asleep. Oh, but it's not a good year for pass rushers. After Chase Young, and then, maybe Chase on, it's not sexy. It really isn't sexy. Rest in peace, Sam Darnold, says Elliot. Yeah, the offensive line is in rough shape. I mean, you can even look at Cleveland. They still don't have a left tackle. They were a good run blocking offensive line, but they don't have a right guard. They just signed a whole bunch of money in Conklin. Conklin was solid. He's just a year removed from the knee surgery. He had a decent year this year. He had a rough start to start the year, obviously, coming off knee surgery, but still, you add in Hooper. There's a lot of places to go with the football. I just think, that's them. Norman, yes, decent value. I think he's going to want to prove people wrong. These type of guys are prideful. They're older. They're kind of on their last run. So they're going to want to come in and be like, hey, I got one good productive year left in me. I'm going to put all in and I'm going to go at it. And I'm going to show them I could still play in this league. Even though I might not get another chance, I could show it. I still have another one in me. So that would be, that would be a guy I could see come in. Another thing with him is he turns over the football. Like he causes fumbles. I was looking at Norman's. He does. He's a decent interceptor of the ball, and he'll punch out the ball. Noah Jelani, I believe. Now we can judge Allen. He wasn't working with much the first 2 years, but now he has a good wide receiver core. And the rumor has it the Bills are very interested in Melvin Gordon. Yeah, I saw that tweet. I'm not interested in him because I'm basically not going to pay big money or a big draft resource for a timeshare running back. I'm not going to do that. I go get one of the other Edwards-Helaire. I go get Dobbins. I go get Swift. I go get one of those guys. I mean, you saw the Bills interviewing those guys in Indy. Again, best player available in the 3rd round. I'm not gonna get mad at it. I'm really not, because they're, you guys who can score touchdowns, man. You need the guys that could take the ball to the house and punch it in the end zone. And yeah, you don't pay money to a running back. You just don't do it, especially with a guy is going to share carries with Motor. No way in hell. There's just no way. Lorenzo Alexander just started Super Mario. Been a huge fan for a long time. Great dude. He has the leadership qualities too. Had a chance to be around him back in 2012. So that was Lorenzo Alexander just tweeting about Mario Williams, Mario Addison. I'm going to mess that up a few times, guys, because it's Mario is a defensive end. I'm going to say Williams. I just know it. So Mario Addison. And was it 38 sacks in the last 4 years, 38 and a half? That's pretty decent production. But I agree with Joe 100%. You just can. I mean, he basically got replaced by an undrafted running back in Eckler, Austin Eckler. So again, go get you a undrafted running back. If you want to draft you have a veteran running back on the roster with Yeldon. That's why you signed him last year. Go draft one if you want. 5th round, 6th round. Go get an undrafted free agent. Don't spend big time resources on it. I mean, look at the Super Bowl. Damian Williams, Raheem Mostert, 2 undrafted free agents. Just, It doesn't make sense. Dalton Smith, as a Saints fan, I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen. Do good again. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, just I was just saying, Diggs second only to Michael Thomas in catch percentage, and that's great company. You know, and Breeze is pinpoint accurate, and that's anytime you're in that range, especially with a quarterback that's not as accurate. You know, with Kirk Cousins, it helps a lot. So, and hopefully with Allen's arm, you know, his willingness to push the ball down the field, it'll just make Diggs that much more dangerous. And that's why I like, you know, I can see why, you know, and I was watching some of his highlights and some of his, he gets a lot of separation. When he puts a foot in the ground, when he reaches the top of his landmark and his route, he really can drive off of it and create a lot of separation. Really good route runner. And then the catching, he catches the ball. So it's an exciting thing. Looks like the players are on board. Yep, Deion Dawkins is excited about it. Yep, lots of guys, you know, just getting amped about the ad. They know what it means. Take the top off. That's right, Snarl. So it should be a lot of fun. Thanks for so many people in the room. 19, the highest. I really appreciate it. It's 1240 almost. So thank you. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like me, just losing your minds over, you know, just wanting to like get back to somewhat of a normal. But this has provided it. So for that, I'm truly, truly grateful. And you guys just coming in provided it even more so. So that I'm really, really grateful. Thank you so much. And thank the Bills for doing something, you know, pretty high level, you know, on the first day of free agency. Even though it wasn't a free agent signing, it was a big addition to the football team, a big one. Because you leave that Texans game, you think about some of the other games in the year, you're like, damn, if they would have had a dude that could have made another play or two. Now you don't have an Isaiah McKenzie as your number 3 receiver. You're not trying to figure out, can Zay Jones get his head on straight, or can he catch, or, you know, then you ship him off for a 5th. Duke, can he step up? You know, he tries his best. He does what he can. He had limited opportunities. He made some plays in those opportunities. Hopefully he gets another chance. But now you can kind of, again, you got Diggs, you got Brown, you got Beasley, and now you can start to slot those guys. And if you bring in a couple of drafted guys, you know, so they can grow around these veterans, then you can have something dangerous. You could have something that has some shelf life as opposed to like quick fix shit. You got shelf life. Can't wait to see Diggs break out the shovel celebration. Well, you know, it's a shame because that 14 is pretty much going to go to him. It's going right off you know, I think he'll take it. I think they would, Ray McLeod, you know, that he's going to be 14. That's just, you know, when Wednesday hits at 4 p.m., we're going to get the notification that he's a Buffalo Bill, and that's pretty much, it's done and dusted. Today's roster, last year's wins, it could win. I think it would win that Texans game. I really think it would win that Texans game. That's for sure. It would definitely win the Texans game. And that, Eric, you love the wide receiver depth. They're not done. They're not done. It's not over with. Any way Duke Williams can possibly build on. Yeah, of course, there's always a way, man. There's always a way. That guy's overcome a lot. He could make this team. There's no, you know, I'm not going to write him off. Snarl, extra playoff spot too. Exactly. And I always thought that there should be. The league expanded by 4 teams from between 95 and 02. You had Jaguars, Panthers come in. You had the Browns get taken away. Then they brought them back in 99. Then you added the Texans to Houston after, you know, Oilers moved to Tennessee. So there's 32 teams. Add another playoff spot. That's only fair. Like, you're adding teams. 2 teams, you should add something. I like the expanded roster, and that's this year. So again, there's going to be more spots for more guys. I personally was it the Bills? They carried like 9 or 10 offensive linemen last year. I know the Bills are going to add they're going to carry an extra corner, and now you can have maybe that extra wide receiver. You can have that extra running back. You can have that extra whatever you need. And there's also the thing that I like the most is you can call a couple of guys up to the active roster on game day if you have an injury, and you can just put them back on the practice squad. You don't have to waive them and lose them potentially. Like, let's just say you needed a Duke Williams to come up and check him out a little bit. You didn't have to subject him to waivers, which is awesome. That's to me, I always hated that. I always thought it was a cheap way to poach a player. Yeah, Duke, no, he's a decent player. He did drop those 2 passes that had him BPU'd, broken up. That was tough, but Duke was our best. Yeah, he was. He was the guy who went to the most. They're gonna have to add guys, man. There's no doubt about that. Aaron Watson. They're gonna add. They're gonna have to add. I think it's gonna be a big receiver just by the look of it. They get Diggs, the 6 foot. They want to go get a big guy. KJ Hill, big Buckeyes fan. Yeah, dude. Brian Hartline coaches those guys up. Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor. I'm sorry. Hill, he coaches those guys up. He gets those guys ready to play in the league. Look at McLaurin last year. I mean, he was better than Campbell. I liked McLaurin better than Campbell the whole time. Not that I know anything better. I thought McLaurin looked more explosive. So, I mean, thank you everybody again for coming in here so much. Draft a girl kicker, gets the media run. Yeah, dude. I mean, somebody's gonna fucking do it. It's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna go off on a tangent. Like the shit the league does, the shit these leagues do to get attention for fake acceptance makes me sick. They pull the guys off the NBA court for this, right? But back in '95, I'm old enough to remember when they put Magic Johnson on the court with full-blown HIV to try to prove a point that they were some vanguard of acceptance and, groundbreaking. We're not afraid of this. You put a guy on the court that had AIDS, okay? Now you're pulling guys off the court because you say you're afraid for their safety. Get the fuck out of here. Come on now. Sorry, I had to say that. Next year, Chris Olive is going to be it's an NFL factory. Yeah, it's like Ohio State. I like Ohio State's pros better than Alabama. I will say that. Like if I'm going to take a guy that's going to be in the league 10 plus years and be an all-pro, I would take him from Ohio State before Bama. Bama guys come in, and it's very rare that they're elite studs for long. Julio, Chris Samuel, who else? I mean, they're very few and far between, especially with the amount of guys they put in the league. But they need a punter. They need a punter and a kicker too. I know that sounds really corny and cheesy to talk about, but Hauschka needs a little bit of a push, maybe a younger leg, stronger leg. And I can't deal with the Bojorquez brain fart every other, punt every other game. I can't do it. I see Robbie Anderson is trending. Did he sign somewhere? Oh, he's still available. Sorry. Robbie Anderson's still available. Do I think Vedvig could compete? Yeah, he definitely can compete. That's what they said he was there for, that he was there to compete with Bojorquez. So let's see. There's a punter from Arkansas State that I like, but he's a punter. Then there's the man kid that bench pressed like the 225, 26 times, 27 times. He's got a pretty big leg, make a tackle. He's strong as shit. Wonder if Wade can punt. He can run. He could probably kick, but those are more like drop kicks that they do in rugby, not the same as NFL directional punting. And he's honestly, I hate to say this, because Bills fans kind of like these certain guys and they just go nuts over these types of guys. Like 2 years ago, it was Brandon Riley. I remember back in 2014, there was a guy named Derek Rogers from Tennessee. And, he was a guy that had a lot of talent, should have been a first round, but he was just a head case, tons of red flags, didn't make the team. Think he got picked up by the Colts, didn't do anything, and that's it. He's out of the league. Then, it was like a few other. It was like Brandon Riley, Brandon Riley, oh my God. The guy never did anything, went on to another team's practice squad, didn't stick. Yeah, John. Oh my God, John Cordo, number 33. He was from Orchard Park, but at least he was on the active roster. But he was just a guy, He was just a guy. That's all he was. Is this Bills fans kind of get attached to these certain types of dudes, and they just don't want to let him go. It's like, oh my God, Christian Wade. It's like, yeah, we get it, Christian Wade. I think the last guy that was like that, and he really played well, like he really played well, was Fred Jackson. And that's before social media. Like everybody loved Fred Jackson. Everybody wanted to see him. Oh, there's number 22. He's finally on the team. He had to start because, Marshawn was injured. And I believe Anthony Thomas, they signed A-Train, um, the running back, Anthony Thomas, that was from Michigan. And he was just like old and beat up. And then, Fred came on and he played well. And then the rest was history. Yeah, he was like a high school player from Orchard Park and stuff. Oh, these rooms are so much more lively without Corey. Booby Dixon, there's another guy, Snarl. Um, God, there's been so many. Bryce Brown until he fumbled against the Chiefs. Um, there's just certain dudes that Bills fans really get attached to. I wonder if Corey likes this trade. He's probably really, really upset. He probably thinks it's bad. He probably thinks it's like overpaying. Look what the tech that would be the first thing you'd see is like, oh, they overpaid. Look what the Texans did. And that's like, I don't think the Texans, everybody says they would have done this, they would have done that. It's a pretty high second round pick, but I mean, Bill O'Brien is a pretty bad dude, man. Like he's bad, not a bad guy, just bad at making football decisions, I think. Um, yeah, Stevie Johnson was a little bit, but and it was so obvious he was better than James Hardy. He caught 2 touchdowns. I think he caught 2 touchdowns in his rookie year, and then you didn't hear from him in 2009, and then he came out in 2010 and just broke out. Why did I didn't see that. PFF called out Allen again. They have a sick fetish. They just have a hard on for him, and I hear these idiots like Monson, who's this Irish dude who all of a sudden is a football aficionado, or Palazzolo, who's a failed minor league baseball pitcher, and there are other nerds that they have working on there. Then you have the Aaron Schatz asshole. It's just like, whatever. Oh, we have contextual analysis that says he doesn't do this and this and this, but then they have guys that they love. Well, my eyes say that they suck. Your opinion and your numbers say that they're good, but my eyes say that they're suck. So we're going to have to agree to disagree. It's subjective. To me, it's too subjective. When they started using words like flunky and clunky to try to rationale some of their stats, they were talking about something at the combine. I was like, okay, if your stats are so fucking bulletproof, clunky, fluky, and lucky, those things don't equate. They're not tangible. I don't like that. Oh God, yeah, man, he drinks that shit up. He's like, this is Shope with the fucking analytics. Like, oh, he's just gargling that shit. He's got their nuts in his mouth. I'm like, yo, bro. But that's how people are. But it makes them feel like they have a taste, because there are people that there's a thirst and a craving for those numbers, and there's a people they know they have a group of people that will pay for those numbers because PFF sells subscriptions. Football Outsiders sell subscriptions. They're in the business of making money. So when they push their product, they want to try to show you is like, hey, we're giving you something you're not going to get anywhere else. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's why Chris Collinsworth, it's a narrative. There's an agenda. Like Chris Collinsworth he won't prop up Josh Allen, but he couldn't get fucking Duck Hodges' dick out of his mouth that one night. And that kid was ass. The kid threw 4 interceptions that were just terrible. Then he got benched the next week. It just sucks. Yeah. Oh, according to PFF, Brett Favre sucked. Okay. You know what's funny is like they like, did you watch? They probably weren't even watching football then, where DBs could actually chuck wide receivers, and there was all the rules over the middle of the field where you can actually, there was no defenseless receiver rule. There was a lot of, you could really fuck guys up over the middle. So there was a whole different. The game, that's why the game is so wide open now. That's why scoring is so much more advantageous now, is because the rules were so much more on an even plane. And then they changed the handling the football rule for the quarterback. They changed the defensive back rule. That was a reaction to the 2004 AFC Championship game. It was up in Foxborough. Colts, Patriots. They thought it was going to be a big shootout. It was rainy and muddy, first of all. And Ty Law and I believe the other DB was Asante Samuel. They mugged the shit with Ellis Hobbs. They just mugged Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. And the NFL was like, nope, fucked our ratings up. We're changing the rules. All right, Elliot, man, get yourself some rest. Go Bills. Thanks for coming in so much, man. I appreciate it. Once things start to happen, I'll open the room up. Like if something big pops off tomorrow, I'll open the room up and we'll just have a conversation about it. Matt PFF would hate guys like Joe Ferguson and Jack Kemp. Oh yeah, they were for their era, they were good. But if you look at them in context to now, they fucking suck. Yeah, good night, bro. Thank you so much for stopping in. Yeah, it's nuts to mention how he would get blasted. He would just get blasted. There was one game that sticks out of my head. I remember a Monday night game. Bills got fucking beaten up, man. They lost that game bad. It was against the Steelers. Bills were kind of on their way down. It was after the last Super Bowl. It was the '94 season. It was in Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. They were wearing their all whites, and they just, man, I remember Carnell Lake, Darren Perry, fucking Rod Woodson, Levon Kirkland, all these guys they had. Man, there was one, he got fucking cracked. I was like, Reed was the toughest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Like, he was a stud. Like, that guy would catch 100 passes in this league now, like, with his fucking eyes closed, bar none. So underrated. And I know BB got fucked up in that game. He was down on the ground, got the ball stripped out of his hand, and they said it was a strip fumble. He was down by contact on the ground. Everything that happened was just after the fact. Yeah, they had Kevin Green, just Joel Steed, Greg Lloyd. They just had they were just stacked, man. Stacked. Chad Brown was one of the middle linebackers. They were just nasty. And the Bills just got they got their asses canceled in that game. I was really not happy because there was a kid in my school that was he was a wishy-washy, sometimes root for the Steelers, sometimes root for the Cowboys motherfucker. And he was always talking shit on the Bills. So I was like, fuck this guy. Fuck the Steelers. Like, I was so happy when the Bills kicked the Steelers out of the playoffs last year and they got in officially. Dude, it would trust me. There was that game. The game I'm talking about is '94. I definitely know that was '94. That game, 100% it was '94. I'll put the game log in the room for you guys just because I wanna prove a point. But I'm glad to see you guys are as lively I am about this. Some good news about the team. Some good news about getting an impact player that we know that can come in, make an immediate impact. It's crazy. I'm looking at the final score and it was 23-10, but the way that game was, it seemed like it was 43-10. If the Bills scored, it must have been just like a gift touchdown at the end of the game. It was just a terrible ass whooping. Brady, Tampa Bay, Rivers, Eric Marino, Tampa Bay, Rivers to Indy, Bridgewater. Sounds like the Bears. Sounds like the Bears are in on Bridgewater, Eric. That's everything earlier today. Mariota to the Raiders. What about that? That's like, whoa. See, the Raiders do things like, they do a thing that's like kind of like, okay, I can see that looks good. And then they'll do something like that. I'm like, isn't that kind of what you have already? Derek Carr, I mean, he's a little bit more mobile than Carr, but he's very, very conservative. And that's why you don't like Carr, because he's conservative. Yeah, they just do weird shit, Joe. I just don't get it, Matt. I just realized when we beat the Jets in the 15 final, we helped the Steelers make the playoffs, and they returned the favor to us this past season. Yeah, pretty much. They very much did. It's things, they just go full circle, man. They really do. I keep clicking back on Twitter to see if anything happens. because things, it's a 24/7 business. I just thought it was funny how people thought that free agency and stuff couldn't go off. Yeah, you can't get the guy in your building. You have to do a physical, have a physical done at another location to get the information. Your doctors can't do it. Maybe they're putting provisions in the contracts to make sure that, look, if our physical and their physical are different, maybe they're doing that. I don't know. I would hope they're safeguarding themselves. Well, then you have Gruden there too, Schnarl. Like it's Mayock. Like some moves look like Gruden, some moves look like Mayock. So it's kind of weird. You don't know who's really being the shot caller there. It's like, who's the shot caller? Like, who's building the team? It's like with the Bills, I know we know firsthand it's McDermott. It's being McDermott. We know that those guys are working hand in hand. Yeah, he's batshit crazy. I think he's more of a persona than a coach. Like I'm not a fan of his. I'm really not. Yeah, he's again a defensive tackle. Like if they want to sign Reader, I would like Reader. Like for the reasons I mentioned on the prior video, can control it, the A and B gaps, let the linebackers run free, play in space. They have AJ Klein in the fold now. He's a veteran guy who's going to do a lot for them. Addison, who's on the edge, who, hopefully, let's see what type of run player he is. I got to kind of look into it. Yeah, they need more of a 1 and a 0, dude, because you got Harrison Phillips coming off a knee, Vincent Taylor, Ed Oliver. Those guys are all 3. Those guys are your penetrators. Those are the guys, the upfield guys. Linville Joseph he's all Eric. He's kind of, I think he's kind of on the downside, man. He was really good though back in the day with the Giants, and he's had a decent run with the Minnesota Vikings too. Like he's kind of just, he's on the back nine. Let's just put it that way. He's when you're in soccer in England, they call that your testimonial year, when you're pretty much an old veteran and you're just kind of playing out the string. They say, oh, this is his testimonial. That's basically you're done after this. That's what they call it. Joe Phillips, you think Harrison, can be 100% hurt his leg? Yeah, he was single leg pressing 700 pounds. I saw it on his Instagram story. Yeah, that dude religious. That guy like lives there. He must be going nuts because he can't rehab in the facility, but still, that's just he's insane. And it happened early in the season. It was a third game of the year, Cincinnati game, and you know how the Bills' defensive line rotation works. They like to spot guys. They like to rotate fresh guys in. So you have 2 big bodies, Star, Reader, maybe Reader. Let's see. And then you have Oliver. You have Harrison Phillips. You have Vincent Taylor. You can just kind of keep those guys fresh. You can carry the extra roster spots now. 48 active on game day. Damn, Xbox shut down, idle too long. Whoa, geez, everything. It's crazy because people are hitting up the servers so hard it can't handle the volume worldwide. That's the issue. Yeah, it's just insane. There's nothing, like, people are really, they're really putting people in a bad state of mind, and that's what I don't like about this, is they haven't put out any people that have recovered from this and said, what were your symptoms like? How was the recovery? They just put up this one woman on a video from Seattle. No, put up look at the numbers. There's over 80,000 people who are recovered. Let's start seeing people. Let's start, rolling them out. Let's start seeing, recovery people. Like, why aren't you saying this? That's irritating me. Like, let's inform people what it's really about. How does it feel when you have it? What does it feel like when it's at worst? That's a bit annoying that they're not doing that. Joe Smith, the Bills defense reminds me of the 92 Cowboys. Yeah, that defense was different for its day, but the it was kind of the Darren. Yeah, I would say that's kind of, it was, they had better edge rushers. I will say that, Charles Haley, Tolbert, Leon Lett, they had some crazy edge guys. CNN is the worst about this. They keep saying these things. The world won't be the same for a long time. I'll just put it to you this way. with no social services, with no health care, with no, no hospitals really. This world survived bubonic plague twice. Okay, the human race lasted through bubonic plague. That's a fact. And that shit was that was walking death. Like that was Eastern Europe survived leprosy, for Christ's sake, okay? Where basically your skin rots off and shit falls off of you. I think he's a lot more athletic than Russell Maryland was. Maryland was a solid player, but he was not the athlete Oliver was. Oliver was a crazy athlete. Now, if you want to compare, see, he's not as big as Warren Sapp, but Oliver's a little bit more explosive. Yeah, that was the dark ages were pretty fucking nuts, dude. Like Eastern Europe and Western, those were, oof, whoa. Bad timing, badness. Reported I wrote about. I was just trying to catch up on Twitter, see if anything happened, and nothing really is popping off now. It's almost 1 a.m. Antonio Dingle, do you think the Bills still? Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I think they could draft 2 wide receivers. Absolutely, no doubt in my mind. Yeah, 60%, and the world was a lot less, obviously, people, not as heavily populated, and but again, just there was no roads, no street lights, man. So it's like we've hopefully mentally, I just think people are very codependent, and they like to see that codependency. They like to yank the chain and see how much people will whimper, kind of like a dog, and then they'll like, oh look, they'll kowtow to us a little more. I just don't subscribe to I don't subscribe to panic. I don't want old people to die. I don't want that. I don't want anybody to die. But it's natural that any type of new thing is going to affect those people the worst, and those are the people that are getting hit, unfortunately. Then you'll get your skewed number, like, oh, a 50-year-old died. Like, not everybody's the same. Everybody has a different immune system. You're poisoning the society with a bunch of shit from Starbucks fucking year in and year out. Processed food, bad shit. The obesity problem in this country is insane. Where's the numbers for that? I mean, it's not sexy. It has no teeth, Okay, TV says buy TP. Lemmings clear the shelves. Yeah, it's crazy. But guys, it is 1 a.m. I want to thank you all for coming in here so much. I appreciate it. And it's a lot. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Joe Smith says I have type 2 diabetes and I'm not scared. Yeah, that's pretty serious, man. But take care of yourself first and foremost. Stay away from shit. Hopefully you can get, I don't know if you need insulin, but hopefully you're able to get it during this time. All right, Joe, have a good one. Thank you. I'm going to shut it down for the night. Maybe something happens overnight, but I think it's going to kind of calm down. I can't believe it's 1 a.m., but it is. But go Bills. 3 new players in-house. And first day, 4 new players in-house. Norman, Klein, Addison, Diggs. And a long way to go after the first league year. Go Bills. Love you all. Peace. Obey, consume. Yep. Alive. Great movie, Snarl. Have a good one, man.